Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. Hell yeah, we effing did it. This coming from XRP Crypto Wolf here. I'm pleased to announce that Senators Warner Toomey, Cynthia Lummis, and I have reached an agreement on the amendment to clarify IRS reporting rules for crypto transactions without curbing innovation or imposing information reporting requirements on stakers, miners, or other non-brokers. This was retweeted out by XRP Crypto Wolf from Rob Portman. So he's one of those senators who is wrapped up in forming this bill. The original tweet is here, guys. I will link this in the description if you want to get in on some of this action. Interesting because there has been some progress. However, nothing is set in stone yet. So Nietzschebucks down here just saying, this amendment has not passed and will only be voted on if 100% of senators allow it. At the moment, the infrastructure bill will be voted on without any amendments. So we do have some work to do. I'm going to keep you guys updated the best I can on its progress. Just going to touch on the crypto market right now. Today, market cap up to $1.8 trillion. So we are seeing growth in the cryptocurrency market as cryptos are rallying. BTC dominance is slowly going back down again, closer to that 45% range. So right now it's at 46.2%. Bitcoin right now trading at about 45,400. We got Ethereum roughly 3,100. Binance Coin trading at $354. We got Cardano at $1.57. XRP almost 81 cents. So a lot of bullish movement in the crypto space. I mean, overall, over the last 3 weeks or so, we have seen bullish movement. I also just wanted to touch on the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit real quick as well, because we are seeing more developments there too. So this from James K. Fillon here on Twitter. The parties tee up deliberative process privilege dispute with respect to documents withheld by the SEC based on the SEC's assertion of the privilege. File joint request for 8-page letter addressing issue. So here's what's going on. I mean, the SEC still doesn't really want to give up those documents. So this is from Ripple's defense. On behalf of Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson and Ripple Inc., we anticipate filing a letter of request for Local Rule 37.2 conference to address a discovery dispute between defendants and the SEC regarding the latter's assertion of deliberative process privilege with respect to documents withheld in this litigation. The parties have conferred and believe that the modest page limit extension would facilitate the presentation of these issues for the court's consideration. So here's what we're seeing right now, and Andrew Zell just picking up on this. The SEC is still trying to avoid handing over the documents. XRP Yoda, just saying corrupt. I think that is fairly obvious by now for a lot of people in the XRP community, realizing how corrupt the SEC really is. The fact that they are so adverse to it, just speaks volumes, I think, in itself. Crypto novice Kim down here saying, thank you for the update, James. I was wondering when this would be filed by Ripple. It is a joke how long they are taking to hand over papers requested by the court. And James K. Fillon just responding down here, well, because fact discovery ends in just 3 weeks and the SEC gets 5 days to respond. I would think that Ripple would file a letter in the next day or two. The issue has no doubt been brewing for some time now. So, he's not the only one who thinks that this has been brewing for some time, and apparently the SEC wants more from Ripple as well. This from DJ Peter Vest. The SEC wants Ripple employees Slack messages. So I personally do not use the Slack app, but apparently the SEC, their attorney George Tenriero, has filed an emergency motion to obtain a court order that would force Ripple employees to hand over their Slack communications. So this is just another communications app for those of you guys who do not know. There are over 1 million messages that have to be searched according to the SEC. Since Ripple employees communicated by Slack as often as by email, they have produced terabytes of data. The SEC claims that the defendants agreed to search all messages at the beginning of the discovery phase. Its production, however, ended up being limited to only 1,468 messages that nonetheless contain some critically important information according to the agency. Now the San Francisco-based company is refusing to provide access to the rest of the chats after blaming a data processing mistake on its initial reluctance to cooperate. So what the SEC thinks they're going to find is perhaps some speculative XRP trading discussions, the company's concerns about the XRP price, the impact on XRP sales, on Ripple's business, as well as the cryptocurrency's regulatory status. The agency relied on the information it obtained from Slack to refresh the witnesses' recollections after they would refuse to answer a slew of questions during testimony. And here's one of them. Had Ripple properly searched and produced all responsive Slack messages, the SEC would have almost certainly been able to refresh the recollection of other deponents. So now they're looking into the Slack messages, and I also saw this guy's from Michael at Val5 Links. Ripple is also requesting an extension here, so just quickly, in the latest development in the XRP lawsuit, Ripple has sent a letter to Judge Netburn requesting an extension of 2 days, 2 working days, so until Monday, August 16th, to respond to the SEC's emergency motion about the Slack communication. So here's the update on that. The letter is down here. If you guys are interested in reading it, I will leave this in the description of the video. The SEC has written to Judge Netburn requesting that they get the Slack emails, which we already know. And now Ripple has requested an extension on that. So this keeps getting dragged on and on. Nevertheless, I thought I would just bring you up to speed on what is going on with the SEC versus Ripple case. I wanted to thank everybody involved in that. I wanted to get back to this crypto bill, though, guys. So here's the lowdown. Senators reach compromise on crypto tax provision in the infrastructure bill. This from XRP Crypto Wolf, coming from CoinDesk here. And, they're taking it as not so great. In a blow to the digital assets industry, the U.S. Senate did not adopt a bipartisan compromise on crypto tax provisions in its $1 trillion infrastructure bill after the vote Monday. And guys, if I do sound confusing, I am going to break it down later on in this video. So Senators Cynthia Lummis and Pat Toomey announced the compromise was supported by Democrats and Republicans at the Treasury Department when introducing the amendment earlier in the day, saying it would exempt crypto transaction validators from a broadening definition of broker. And the only senator was U.S. Senator Richard Shelby. He was the only one who filed an objection after attempting to attach his own amendment to increase military spending. Senator Bernie Sanders objected to the Shelby motion, resulting in Shelby then objecting to the overall compromise. So this is kind of where it went downhill. The full text of the compromise is not immediately available, yada yada. Here's a quote. "We're not proposing anything sweeping or anything radical. The compromise makes clear that a broker means only those persons that conduct transactions where consumers buy, sell, and trade digital assets." This coming from Toomey. This is what he said in a press conference yesterday. The text itself would define a broker as a person who, for consideration, regularly effectuates transfers of digital assets on behalf of another person, and would exclude entities that validate transactions, meaning miners or stakers, without providing other services, or entities that sell hardware or software that allow consumers or customers to control private keys, according to screenshots shared by Coin Center's Jerry Britto. So Jerry Britto, very involved in this. I'm going to talk a little bit about his point of view on this a little further. But first, guys, I saw this from the blockchain backer. Notice what happened. So the only senator who stood in the way while all other senators got to save face and not deal with the political backlash was this guy, Senator Shelby. Meanwhile, that senator is retiring at the end of his term. So here's just an article saying, Shelby announces retirement, opening Senate seat in Alabama. The only senator that is looking to step down after this term. So, to the lifeboats down here agreeing, bingo, and Niche Bucks down here, suggesting something is a little afoot as well. All this felt a little staged. Everyone gets off the hook. The worst case scenario achieved. You can read into this what you will. Interesting to note, and here's the Jerry Britto tweet, so we're going to deconstruct this. The bad news is that the amendment did not receive unanimous consent, as I just mentioned, so it will not make it into the bill. The good news, however, is we're not giving up. Next stop is the House, where we can try to get a whole new amendment from scratch that can address all our concerns. He goes on to say, for example, if all that's needed is to make sure that centralized exchanges are brokers for tax reporting purposes, there shouldn't be a need for any new expanded definition of broker at all. Just add digital assets to what's already covered in the code, nothing else. And he gives just an example of that here with this screen grab. He goes on to say, we'll also get a chance to address other concerns with the bill. For example, the reporting requirements that would apply to mere transfers of digital assets from brokers to non-brokers raise serious privacy and civil liberties concerns. That's another big point that some of these senators are speaking out against, the privacy and civil liberty concerns. So a mass thank you to Senator Lummis, Senator Toomey, and Senator Ron Wyden for their valiant efforts. We are in your debt. We would never have gotten this far without you. And you have no idea how lucky you are to have these people here. And he tags a bunch of people on Twitter on board, and Alex Sternell as well, on the Coin Center team fighting this fight. It's my honor to work with them every single day. I'm going to go collapse and sleep for a couple of days, but like I said, it's not over. See you in a few. So Jerry Britto and Coin Center also a big part of this story. Alex Voorhees down here, just thanking them for their continued effort. And to that point of cryptocurrency privacy and civil liberties, this whole narrative surrounding the CBDCs and, the World Economic Forum. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum, and this is just another part of it. Part of the Great Reset is to be able to surveil citizens through CBDCs. Now, we talk about it in terms of Ripple and XRP and how they're involved. The fact that they are going to be the center or, part of the inner workings of moving money across the globe. That's one thing for XRP hodlers. I mean, we should be really excited about that just because we hold what is, to me, one of the best digital assets you could possibly hold in your portfolio. But then there's the privacy, there's the whole, other side of things with regards to limiting civil liberties and, the powers that be getting their way. CryptoSpawn down here posting this, a John McAfee interview. He says in this tweet, we will never get anywhere as a crypto community if we keep no-toeing to the out-of-touch politicians that don't have our best interests in mind, to put it lightly, and John McAfee showed us the way. Listen to this real quick.
I don't really care what a government thinks or what their position is about crypto. Crypto has its own power that supersedes the power of governments. Right now, the only problem we have is that all of our exchanges are centralized. So if a government does not like what's happening, they can shut down the exchange. Now, they can't stop you from sending and receiving funds because they don't even know about it, especially if you're using a privacy coin like Monero. So I don't care what governments do. I don't want to be subservient to the government. Cryptocurrency is permissionless and trustless. That's the foundation of it. You don't need permission from anybody to do it. Yet we're looking for governments to give us permission? No, that makes no sense. Ignore the governments. Ignore the laws. Why? You cannot enforce a law that can't be enforced. Governments are going to have to change dramatically when distributed exchanges arrive. Because when that happens, you can't shut down exchanges anymore. Governments will lose all power. So no matter what they do, no matter what their attitude, it will not matter. So for me, don't worry about Malta accepting it or China not accepting it. It's all the same. In the end, governments will have to accept one fact. We, as people, have the right to control our own finances without interference and without permission.
So, of course, this interview was from a few years ago now. We were hoping we'd go down this way. However, governments are now trying to control everything cryptocurrency related. And if you are looking to take your money out of cryptocurrency, the off-ramp to fiat currency, governments are going to definitely have a say in how and when you can do that. Now, if you are just transferring value from one person to another via Bitcoin and you choose to do that, yes, anybody can do that. The government cannot stop you from doing that. John McAfee does talk about Monero, the privacy coin, in here as well. But they want to, to his point, they want to surveil us. And, in this bill particularly, these senators are adamantly against these provisions that would affect the privacy and civil liberties of Americans. I also saw this, guys, and this was Ted Cruz talking yesterday about this bill. This was posted by David Gokhshtein here. Let me play you this.
Is the number one barrier to blockchain adoption, according to 48% of respondents in a recent report. And they're right to be worried. The current bill widens the definition of broker. Those who would have to collect information on cryptocurrency consumers and report this information to the IRS. It would force every single participant in the cryptocurrency structure to operate as a financial institution, which would mean they would have to provide consumer information to the IRS, even if they don't have access to that information. This overly broad definition of the word broker will block rapid innovation in cryptocurrencies, and it will endanger the privacy of many Americans in cryptocurrencies. This is wrong. So I applaud my colleagues for trying to find an incremental approach. Unfortunately, because the senator from Vermont objected, that incremental approach hasn't been adopted. So let's exercise a brief, shining moment of common sense. And let's recognize, if we gathered all 100 senators in this chamber and ask them to stand up and articulate 2 sentences defining what in the hell a cryptocurrency is, that you would not get greater than 5 who could answer that question. Given that reality, the barest exercise of prudence would say we shouldn't regulate something we don't yet understand. We should actually take the time to try to understand it. We should hold some hearings. We should consider the consequences. We shouldn't destroy people's lives and livelihoods from complete ignorance.
Booyah! Ted Cruz, well, making some important points here. We shouldn't be regulating something that we don't know about, and he points it out very clearly. Save for about 5 senators, all the other ones have no idea, could not describe, could not explain what a cryptocurrency is. And so why are these guys voting on this? Well, maybe they should just be educated a little more about cryptocurrency and how the hindrance of cryptocurrency could affect entire sections of the U.S. economy. Nietzsche Bucks down here saying, Ted Cruz will be the CEO of Binance US someday. He is good, said MacAttack XRP. CNF saying, he may be evil, but he's not wrong. Russ down here asking, when is Ted Cruz running for president again? And there are also some people down here, despite if you are a fan of Ted Cruz or not, some saying, I don't really like who he is or what he stands for or what he said in the past, but today he had a pretty good observation. He made a pretty good speech about this. Again, guys, I link everything in the description so you can chime in on Twitter if you're interested. And so here's Cynthia Lummis' breakdown from last night. She posted this at around 8:30 p.m. on August 9th last night. So there are some important lessons from this about the antics in Washington. First, this is what happens when bills are drafted behind closed doors without input from experts and stakeholders. This is why we started Financial Caucus, to educate those who are going to make decisions that affect this industry. So there is indeed an organization that should be, at least, educating senators and perhaps other Americans through that channel more about cryptocurrency and the adoption of cryptocurrency. Financial Innovation Caucus is what it's called. So she says that there is an organization like that. If we keep pressing forward without understanding the implications of our actions, we are going to fall further and further behind China in financial innovation, and that is the biggest threat, I think, to the United States at this moment in time. We must prepare now for the next time we go up against the anti-innovation crowd. We must engage early, build coalitions, shed light on the actors who are working to stifle innovation and maintain the status quo. Thank you to everybody for fighting with me for the innovators that make our country great. The fight isn't over. It always takes work to convince skeptics of the merits of new technology. And so, to her point here, I saw this from Michael at Val5 Links. America braces for coders exodus. This could be the worst case scenario. Just an article suggesting coders are now probably considering packing their bags. Europe and Asia welcomes our U.S. crypto friends, says this coming from Peter Silagi, a Slovenian Ethereum developer. Europe in particular stands to win bigly. Bigly, are you serious? From the more repressive atmosphere in the United States where the freedom to publish code is concerned. Berlin is already known as a refuge for code dissenters, with attackers underground somewhat stealthily standing behind the rise of Germany. The European Union now has a golden opportunity to set up a continental-level SEC jurisdictional rival where the crypto space is concerned, with that bare bones allowing it to build further to a full competitor of the regulator that oversees $100 trillion. So this just kind of going over the idea that, if we don't get these cryptocurrency regulations right, this is definitely going to have an effect on the economy. I mean, if cryptographers can't make a living in the United States, they're going to have to find work elsewhere, and there is no shortage of work within the cryptocurrency industry when we're looking at it from a global perspective. So the United States has to get it right. Cynthia Lummis continuing to fight the good fight. We've got Jerry Britto down here also saying, you know what, we can't stop. We got to keep moving forward. So that's what was happening in Washington yesterday, guys, with regards to this bill. Also, interesting to note that Senator Shelby is retiring, and just coincidentally happened to be the only senator that voted against that bill. Does that raise red flags for you? Tell me down in the comments what you guys think. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the videos if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.